Do you know who I am? The words hung in the humid April air like a challenge, spoken not with arrogance, but with the quiet authority of someone who had spent decades wielding gavels instead of receiving citations. But 30 minutes earlier, none of that mattered to Officer Derek Martinez as he sat in his patrol car on Riverside Boulevard, watching the afternoon traffic flow past the courthouse district. The bodycam timestamp read 18 hours and 14 minutes when the dark sedan caught his attention, a late-model BMW moving slightly above the posted limit through the tree-lined street where judges, lawyers, and court staff made their daily commute. Martinez had been with the department for 8 years, long enough to develop instincts about vehicles and drivers, but not long enough to recognize every face that mattered in the city's legal hierarchy. What he saw was a driver who appeared to be texting while driving, the telltale downward glance and hand positioning that had become his specialty to spot. The BMW's driver was Judge Patricia Williams, though Martinez had no way of knowing that. As he activated his emergency lights and initiated what he assumed would be a routine traffic stop, Judge Williams had indeed been looking down, not at a phone, but at case files she was reviewing at red lights, a habit born from 23 years of managing an overloaded docket that demanded every spare moment. As the patrol car's lights flashed in her rearview mirror, Judge Williams felt the familiar tightness in her chest that came with these encounters. At 54, she had been pulled over exactly 17 times in her adult life, a frequency that her white colleagues found statistically improbable when she mentioned it during private conversations in chambers. Each stop carried the same underlying tension. Would this officer see a respected member of the judiciary, or would he see what too many others had seen first? She pulled into the empty parking lot of a small medical complex, her hands automatically moving to the 10-2 position on the steering wheel. The BMW came to a complete stop beneath the sprawling oak tree that provided shade for the building's entrance. Judge Williams lowered all her windows and placed her hands visibly on the steering wheel, a routine she had perfected not through any legal training, but through lived experience. Officer Martinez approached with standard protocol in mind. The driver appeared compliant, hands visible, no immediate signs of agitation. But as he drew closer to the driver's side window, he noticed the driver's professional attire, a black suit that suggested courthouse business, and the slight tension in her posture that experienced officers learn to read. "Good afternoon, ma'am," Martinez began, his tone professional but carrying the inherent authority of the badge. "I'm Officer Martinez with Metro PD. The reason I stopped you today is because I observed you appearing to use your mobile device while driving. Can I see your license, registration, and insurance, please?" Judge Williams turned to face him, and Martinez caught his first clear look at her face. There was something familiar about her features, but he couldn't place where he might have seen her before. She was an African-American woman with short, professionally styled hair and intelligent eyes that seemed to assess him with the same careful attention he was giving her. "Officer, I wasn't using my phone," Judge Williams replied, her voice measured and clear. "I was reviewing documents at the traffic light, which I realize may have appeared similar from your vantage point." Martinez noted the precision of her language, not the defensive protests he usually heard, but the careful word choice of someone comfortable with legal terminology. Still, the explanation didn't change what he believed he had observed, and admitting to reading while driving wasn't necessarily better than texting. "I understand, ma'am, but looking away from the roadway while operating a vehicle falls under distracted driving regardless of the specific activity. I'll still need to see your license and registration." As Judge Williams reached for her purse, she made each movement deliberate and announced, "I'm reaching for my purse now to get my identification." Her wallet was designer leather, well-worn but expensive, containing the usual collection of credit cards, photos, and identification that tells the story of a person's life in small rectangles of plastic. She handed Martinez her driver's license, and as he looked down at the small photograph and printed information, his expression shifted almost imperceptibly. The license listed her occupation as judge, but Martinez had learned that people sometimes listed aspirational or former occupations on their identification. He had once stopped a man whose license claimed he was a CEO who turned out to be unemployed. "Ma'am, your license indicates you're a judge. Can you tell me what court you work in?" Judge Williams studied his face, looking for signs of recognition, or the subtle shift in demeanor that usually accompanied this revelation. I'm Judge Patricia Williams. I preside over the 3rd District Court downtown, courtroom 304. The name meant nothing to Martinez, but the specificity gave him pause. Most people who fabricated credentials kept their lies vague. Courtroom 304 was specific enough to verify, though he had no immediate way to do so. I appreciate the information, Your Honor, he said, using the proper address while maintaining his professional distance. However, I still need to complete this traffic stop based on my observations. I'll be right back with your license. As Martinez walked back to his patrol car, Judge Williams sat quietly in her BMW, watching him in her side mirror. She had been in this exact position before, caught between her identity as a citizen subject to the same laws as everyone else and her role as someone who helped enforce those very laws from the bench. The irony wasn't lost on her that tomorrow she would likely see Officer Martinez or one of his colleagues testifying in her courtroom about similar traffic stops. Martinez ran her license through the system, and the computer confirmed what her identification claimed. Patricia Williams, no outstanding warrants, clean driving record, occupation listed as district judge. But the verification didn't automatically resolve his dilemma. Judges, like everyone else, were subject to traffic laws. The question was whether his observation warranted a citation, regardless of who was behind the wheel. As he sat in his patrol car, Martinez found himself in the kind of situation that police training addresses in theory, but never quite prepares officers for in practice. He was confident in what he had observed, but he was also aware that citing a sitting judge created complications that extended far beyond a simple traffic ticket. The body cam continued recording as he made his decision and walked back toward the BMW, unaware that this routine stop was about to become anything but routine. Judge Williams watched him approach, her decades of experience reading people telling her that Officer Martinez was wrestling with something more complex than a standard citation. She had seen that same expression on the faces of attorneys who realized mid-argument that they had made a critical error in judgment. Your Honor, Martinez said as he reached her window, I've verified your identification and I want to thank you for your cooperation today. But instead of returning her license and ending the stop, he paused, and Judge Williams realized that her afternoon was about to become considerably more complicated. The pause stretched between them like a held breath. Martinez looked down at the license in his hand, then back at Judge Williams, caught in the uncomfortable space between duty and discretion. However, he continued, I still observed what appeared to be distracted driving behavior, and I have an obligation to address traffic safety regardless of. He gestured vaguely, searching for the right words. Regardless of circumstances. Judge Williams nodded slowly, recognizing the position he was in. She had seen officers in her courtroom struggle with similar moments, when the law was clear, but the application felt complicated. Officer Martinez, I understand you're doing your job, but I need you to understand something as well. She shifted slightly in her seat, her voice taking on the tone she used when addressing packed courtrooms. In the past 15 years, I have been stopped by police officers 23 times. I keep count because the pattern is notable. Of those stops, I've received citations exactly twice, both for legitimate speeding violations that I didn't contest. The other 21 stops resulted in warnings, apologies, or officers simply walking away once they realized who I was. Martinez felt the weight of her words, but also the implication behind them. Your Honor, I can only speak to this stop. Today, I observed behavior that appeared to violate traffic safety laws. And what exactly did you observe? Judge Williams asked, her tone shifting into cross-examination mode. From your position behind me, at what distance, and for how long? The questions came with the precision of someone who had spent decades evaluating evidence and witness testimony. Martinez found himself being deposed in a parking lot, and he realized he was not prepared for this level of scrutiny. I observed you looking down at what appeared to be a mobile device while your vehicle was in motion, he replied. But even as he spoke, he could hear the uncertainty creeping into his voice. At what point was my vehicle in motion during this alleged observation? Was I proceeding through the intersection, or was I stopped at the traffic light? Martinez replayed the moment in his mind. He had been stopped at the same light, 2 cars behind her, when he noticed her looking down. The light had been red for at least 30 seconds before it changed to green. You were, you were stopped at the light when I first observed the behavior, he admitted. So I was legally stopped, not in motion, when you observed me looking down at documents, not a phone, while waiting for a traffic signal to change. The trap was elegant and complete. Martinez realized that his reasonable suspicion was built on observing someone reading while legally stopped at a red light. The subsequent brief moments when her attention was diverted while the light was green might constitute inattentive driving, but proving that beyond a reasonable doubt in court would be challenging at best. Your Honor, he said, his voice carrying a new note of respect mixed with frustration. You clearly have more experience with traffic law than I initially realized. Judge Williams allowed herself a small smile. Officer Martinez, I've been on both sides of these situations more times than I care to count. I'm not trying to make your job difficult, but I am trying to make a point about the importance of accurate observations and fair application of the law. Martinez stood beside her car, feeling the weight of the body cam recording every word, every expression, every decision he was about to make. He thought about the 21 other stops she had mentioned, about the pattern she had described, about the implications of his next choice. I'm going to issue you a warning today, he said finally. But I want you to know that it's not because of your position. It's because, upon reflection, my observation doesn't meet the standard for a citation. Judge Williams accepted her license back, but she wasn't finished. Officer Martinez, can I ask you something? Yes, ma'am. Do you know why I keep count of these stops? Martinez shook his head. Because every single one of them is a reminder that the law applies differently depending on who you are, where you are, and who's watching. Today, you have a choice to make about what kind of officer you want to be. Not just to me, but to everyone you stop. She paused, letting her words settle. In my courtroom, I see the consequences of traffic stops like this one every day. I see how they escalate, how they go wrong, how they destroy trust between communities and law enforcement. I also see how they can go right when officers choose to use their discretion wisely. Martinez felt the lecture settling over him, but it didn't feel condescending. It felt like education. Your Honor, can I ask you something? Of course. Those 21 other stops, were they all like this one? Judge Williams considered the question carefully. Some were pretextual, following me for miles looking for any minor violation. Some were genuine mistakes that got walked back once officers realized who I was. And some, she paused, some were officers who were genuinely surprised to discover that the suspicious person they'd profiled was someone they'd later have to face in court. The implication hung in the air between them. Martinez realized that tomorrow, next week, or next month, he very well might find himself in Judge Williams' courtroom, testifying about a different stop, a different case. The thought was sobering. Your Honor, he said, his voice carrying a new tone of professional respect. I apologize for the inconvenience today. I hope you understand that I was trying to do my job appropriately. I do understand, Officer Martinez. And I hope you understand that I was trying to do mine as well, which includes ensuring that the law is applied fairly and consistently. As Martinez walked back to his patrol car, he thought about the conversation he'd just had, about the education he'd received in that parking lot. He thought about the other drivers he'd stopped, about the patterns Judge Williams had described, about the weight of the badge he wore. The bodycam captured him sitting in his car for a full 3 minutes before he pulled away, unusual for a routine traffic stop. What it couldn't capture were the thoughts running through his mind about justice, fairness, and the complex realities of law enforcement in a community where everyone, eventually, was accountable to everyone else. Judge Williams sat in her BMW for a moment longer, watching Martinez drive away. She thought about the conversation, about the opportunity for education that every encounter like this presented. She thought about the young officer who might, just might, approach future stops with a different perspective. 3 months later, Officer Martinez would find himself in courtroom 304, testifying in an unrelated case. As he took the witness stand, he would catch Judge Williams' eye, and they would share a brief nod of mutual recognition and respect. His testimony that day would be precise, fair, and professional, exactly the kind of police work that Judge Williams had spent her career hoping to see more of. The traffic stop had lasted exactly 18 minutes. The education would last considerably longer than I in the end. Officer Martinez did indeed live to regret pulling over Judge Patricia Williams, not because of any consequences or retaliation, but because the encounter forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about policing, justice, and the gap between the law as written and the law as applied. It was the kind of regret that leads to growth, the kind that makes better officers and, ultimately, better communities. The body cam footage would eventually be used in police training seminars, not as an example of what went wrong, but as an example of what could go right when officers and citizens choose education over escalation, understanding over confrontation, and justice over mere law enforcement. Judge Williams would continue to be stopped by police officers. The pattern she had described was not easily broken by a single encounter, but she would also continue to use each stop as an opportunity for education, carrying the hope that every conversation might plant seeds of change in the minds of officers who had the power to make the law work more fairly for everyone.